Hi, I'm Paul Psolka, Ivy Masters Learning Center at ivymasters.com. And today we're going to look at Test 4, Section 3, number 15, which reads, in the quadratic equation above, k empiric constants, what are the solutions for x? So, important part here, solutions for x. Okay, so we have our formula, and if you glance at the answer choices, they all look an awful lot like the quadratic formula. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to subtract 2p from both sides. Remember, quadratic should always be set equal to 0. And what you get when you do that is you get x squared minus k over 2x minus 2p equals 0. Then you ask yourself, would I like to work with whole numbers or would I like to work with fractions? Of course you'd like to work with whole numbers. So what do? You multiply this whole equation by 2, which is, remember, it's the same as 2 over 1. And when you do so, you get 2x squared minus kx minus 4p equals 0. So you got to make sure you distribute that 2 across every single monomial. So it just cancels the denominator in the second term, and you multiply the other terms by 2. Now, in the form, now you have to have this memorized, negative b plus or minus a square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Remember, that's when you're in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So here, for this equation, you can see that your a equals 2. You can see that your b, it does not equal 1, it does not equal negative 1, it equals negative k. Why? Because your b is always what's attached to your x. What's your c equal? Your c does not equal 4, it does not equal negative 4, it does not equal 4p, it equals negative 4p. Why? Because p holds a value, and if your p is 2, then your c is going to be negative 8. If your p is 3, then your c is going to be negative 12. So c is that whole thing. It's negative 4p. It's anything that does not have an x or an x squared attached to it. So now I'm ready to plug into the quadratic formula. So my negative b is a negative k. So you can see that that's going to wind up being a positive k. Plus or minus the square root of, in place of b, I put my negative k in parentheses, squared. It's b squared minus 4a, which is 2, c, which is negative 4p. That's all underneath the square root. The whole thing is over 2a, and remember your a is 2. And then notice in the beginning, you get a negative k, so you get a k plus or minus, and you can tell already that that k is going to be over 4. C and d are gone. And what do you get inside the square root? You get k squared, and negative times negative is a positive, and 4 times 2 is 8, times 4 is 32, p, the whole thing over 4. And if you look at your answer choices at this point, you could tell that answer choice B is your correct answer. So it's a good idea to glance over the answer choices as your question progresses. The only thing that answer choice B does that we don't see in this problem at this point is it separates. This whole thing over 4 is the same as, let me just move this up a little bit, and okay, it is the same as k over 4 plus or minus, and then just splitting it, k squared plus k squared, I said k squared plus 32p over 4. Usually when we're literally adding fractions, we go from this form to this form, but all it does is split it in the last answer choice, probably just to throw a wrench in there just in case you made it this far. So your answer is B. Thank you for joining us today. If you like this video, click like. You could share it with someone who has trouble with the quadratic formula. If there's any question you'd like to see answered on any official SAT or PSAT or ACT, you can leave that in the comments as well. I'd be happy to shoot a video on it. And make sure you click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Have a great day.